Hey, so welcome back to Magic String Works. So today on the workbench we have this massive guitar case, and it was featured on a short video I published earlier in the week. And I gave a sneak peek what's inside. Some of you guessed what it is. It's an Epiphone. Let's have a look. This is a massive guitar case. It's 49 inches long, 20 inches deep. Oh, there we go. Well, for those of you who like Flying Vees, this is your guitar. So this is an Epiphone Dave Mustaine signature guitar. It's a Flying Vee. This black custom metallic paint. Really cool. It has two Seymour Duncan Dave Mustaine thrash pickups, two volume controls, a three-way selector, and a tone. This really cool tailpiece here. Of course, the V shape. Bound fretboard. This is a Gibson scale, so 24 3/4. Brand new guitar. The owner just bought it, and he wants me to do a couple of things. One is change the bridge, and he picked up a new one, and then the other one is put on some locking tuners. I'll show you those in a second. But he also had a bit of an issue with it, with some noise. He felt that there was a little bit excuse me, too much noise coming out of the pickups or controls. He wasn't sure. Anyways, I'll have a look at it, but I tested it here on my crappy little bench amp plus my other amps. I've got 3 or 4 other amps in the workshop, and I couldn't reproduce that noise, of course, right? But we'll have a look at it. So despite the case being huge, it's really to accommodate the shape. This guitar is super light. I don't know, maybe it weighs 6 pounds? 6-7 pounds max? Well, I can't say I see too many Flying Vees come into the workshop. This is pretty cool. A good close look at it. So the owner has left me these Gotoh tuners, Gotoh machine heads here. These are locking tuners. And also a Gotoh bridge. Here we go. I think both of these will be drop-in sort of solutions. And it's DR Dragon Skin Plus 10 to 52s, so a little heavier gauge there. And he wants it tuned in D standard. Okay, well, you might ask yourself, where do you plug in a guitar like this? It's not here, anywhere here. So it's actually right here, sort of on that upper wing, if you will, the top part of the V. So I'm going to get this output jack for my bench amp in there. There we go. Okay, turn the amp on. Definitely have noise, so that's a good thing. So let's try the selector switch. So this should be the neck. Middle should be both. And that should just be the bridge. Yep. So again, we're gonna put that onto the neck here. There's a neck volume, bridge volume, yep. And then we should have a tone. Okay, and so I'm gonna jack this up all the way. And I've got it on my bench amp, and I really don't hear anything. You know, nothing that I don't normally hear out of that bench amp, so I think we're okay. Let's see, do we have any crackling or anything? No? It's clean. Well, that's good. Okay, well, I think we'll go ahead with putting the tuners on and changing this bridge too. So here is a D standard tuning. So we're going to go from the 6th string to the 1st string. So D, G, C, F, A, D. There'll be a test on that after. Okay, so these Gotoh machine heads, these tuners here, so SGS510Z-MG-T in Cosmo Black. It's got a 1:18 gear ratio. So these should be really nice. They should be drop-in. They are locking tuners. I like the shape of the tuning key. Let's get these strings off. So I'll take this opportunity to remove the truss rod cover. And of course it has Dave Mustaine's name on it. I'm not sure if that's his signature, but definitely says Dave Mustaine. Of course, Dave Mustaine is one of the co-founders of Megadeth, and also, of course, guitarist with Metallica for many, many years. So, well known in the, call it heavy metal world. There we go. Alright, let me flip this over. So I just have one of the new Gotoh tuners here, the locking tuners. And you can see that it has the screw in the lower right as you're looking at it, just like the ones that are there. So I'm pretty confident that these are going to drop in. Should be a 10mm hole. So how about I take one off? I'll just randomly take this one off. So there's going to be a screw in the back, and then we have the nut and the washer in the front. So I'll loosen that up. So I just used a 10mm wrench under there. You can use a socket or anything that you have. So take that off. These are nice tuners. They're Grover. I think they're Grover Mini Rotomatics. So these are definitely keepers, of course. So I'll put those aside for the owner. That should be a better shot. So push it in. It's a nice tight fit too, and the hole is right there. So now these came with their own screws, of course, so I'll use those. They're in the package, hiding somewhere. There we go. I'll put those in. Alright, let's do them all. Okay, well, shouldn't have spoken too soon, I guess, eh? So as I'm taking this off, I noticed the one that I put in already. Why is it so low? Well, let's have a look. Put the next one in. Same thing. Well, I think it's because the shaft length is different. I'll bring that in closer. Here we go. Yeah. You should be able to see that difference. There we go. So, I don't think we're going to be able to use these. Okay, so the owner wanted me to change out the stock bridge for this Gotoh model here. GE103B-T, 10.4mm string spacing. So we were disappointed with the tuners, so let's hope we're not disappointed with this. So I'm going to pop this out first before committing to anything. So it does come with the anchors and the posts, but I think we can reuse the ones that are there. There we go. Alright, Gotoh, Japan. See it on the back? Okay, so this one has little Phillips screws for the intonation. And I'm just going to pop this original one off, stock one, and see what happens. Would you look at that? Now, It's a little too loose for my liking. Let's see what the fit is. Wow. The fit is pretty much the same. It's a little looser. Okay, let me take that off. Let me unscrew one of these posts. Damage this new guitar. So I'm going to put one of the Gotoh posts in, and hopefully it's a straight swap. Looks like it is. Alright, well, I think we're in business then. So I'll change these out to the Gotoh ones. Not much of a difference. Here, before I unscrew it, let me see. Is it my imagination? So this is the stock one. And we're looking at a diameter of 5.92 millimeters. The Gotoh one is 6 millimeters. So not a huge difference. 236 thousandths versus 233 thousandths. So but enough to give it a little slop that I wasn't happy with. So let's take this original out. And we'll put in the other one from Gotoh. There we go. I'm glad the anchor bushing is good. So I'm going to raise this up a little bit. It's easier to drop this bridge down than it is to try and raise it up. Okay, so because the original orientation of this bridge had the screws forward, I'll do the same on this one. Okay, well, there's still a decent amount of slop there, but under string tension, right, it's going to pull it. So, all right. Now the next thing would be to adjust the intonation a little bit. So I'm going to do a pre-adjustment to try and match closely the saddles that we have here. That'll just make it easier for intonation after. Okay, so I've just sort of pre-adjusted the intonation on this bridge, but it's funny, I just noticed. So this is the 6th string, so the low E, and this saddle's already been turned around to get a little more intonation adjustment. This one doesn't need to do that. It's bigger already. Interesting what you find, eh? Okay, so I'm just having a look at the frets. I mean, it's a new guitar, so there's no real wear. I'll just give them a light polish with 1000 grit Pirelli fret eraser. Yeah, that should be enough just to clean them up a bit. Then I'll put some conditioner on there. Here we've got nut slots, so we have a little thicker guitar strings. So I think that these are 10 to 52s instead of 10 to 46. Yeah, so these nut slots look pretty big already, so I think we should be fine, but we can fine tune those if we need to. So let me clean up and condition this fretboard, and then we'll get the new strings on it. Wow, this is one dry fretboard. It's just sucking it in there. Crazy. I think if I left it on for 10 minutes, it would just disappear. Anyways, I'm going to wipe off the excess. Okay, well, that's looking better. Alright, let's get these 10 to 52s D standard tuning. I can't forget that. Okay, because this bridge will just fall off if I flip this guitar, I'm just going to put it aside. And I'm going to run these strings through. So I like the little bags, I'm a big fan of that. 1st and 4th, 2nd and 5th, third, and sixth. Why don't you leave in the comments below how do you string your guitar? Do you do first to sixth, or do you do sixth to first, or do you alternate? What do you like to do? Let me know. I think what I'll do in this case is I'll string the first and sixth up so I can lock that bridge down. Okay, so I've got the first and the sixth string, not tuned up of course, but holding down the bridge. Let's do the rest. Okay, well, we're all strung up. Looks pretty cool. So I'm just going to give these a little stretch before I tune it up. And again, this is going to be in D standard, so I've kept that sticky note nearby so I remember. D standard. So I'm just going to go through these strings. I'm doing by hand. Of course, I've been using this string stretcher too, which, I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. It seems to work. Doesn't do any harm. Run that up and down the string a couple of times. Is it quicker, or is it, well, it's certainly easier than pulling them. If I had to do 5-6 guitars a day, I probably would be very happy to have this tool. But I don't mind trying it. Again, you don't need to do the plain strings as much. It's really the wound ones that need a lot of stretching. Come back. Again, you're also trying to seat the guitar in the nut, you know, with the tuning post and in the bridge. You know, it's always good to check, make sure you're in your slots. I like to push down on the back of the strings in case there's a kink or something. Make sure your ball ends are through there. Okay, so I thought it would be interesting to check these pickups, see what the ohms, the resistance is on them. So I'm going to take the ground and put it to the barrel of the output jack, and then the hot lead goes to the tip, like so. It's plugged into the guitar, of course. Put that down. So let's look at the neck. 7.26 kilo ohms. So that's pretty normal for a humbucker. And we're going to go to the bridge. 16.21 kilo ohms. So more than twice the resistance. Now, usually means the output is greater. It doesn't always, but it definitely is a measure of how many windings there are in the pickup. And so I would assume that this pickup on the bridge is much hotter than the neck. So that's pretty interesting. Okay, so we're tuned up to D standard, which is D, G, C, F, A, and D. So that's how the owner wants it. And I'm going to check the neck relief. Capo on the first fret, and I'd like to see about 8 thousandths at the 7th fret, so we're going to push down on the last fret here and then check the relief. Yeah, it's just touching 8 thousandths, just barely, so it's probably 8 or 9 thousandths, which is perfect. Really, really good. And you can check that in the playing position too, of course. So, you know, go ahead, do the way you like it. I generally will check it on the bench like that, and then after playing it, if there's an issue, then I can make adjustments. Okay, let's check the string height now, the action. So I'm going to use my string height gauges, which you can purchase at www.magneticstringworks.com. So we're going to set this guitar up at 4/64 at the 12th fret, so it's a Gibson scale, which is about 1.5, 1.6 millimeters if you're into metric. So here's 4, so I'm going to put that under the string. A little bit of bounce. Of course, it's a tune-o-matic bridge, so we can only adjust the first and 6th strings for height. And I really like that. So that's pretty good. It's close. I'd probably drop down the bass side a little bit. Now, I always like to double check the string action using a string action ruler afterwards. This has 64ths. It also has millimeters and thousandths of an inch. So I'll turn that on its side. I'll have a peak here like that. Yeah, that could come down. That's about 5. We're just above 4 on the treble side, and we're at 5 on the bass side. So I'm going to drop down the bass side. And relatively simple to do, of course. On a tune-o-matic bridge, I'm going to come down here. I'll show you. So this one has a slotted screw on top because it's very hard to move these a lot of times. Now we're going down, so there's no tension, so it's okay to leave the string tension the way it is. But what I like to do is I'm going to put a cloth just over that screw head. So we want to get a screwdriver that's pretty well fitted, and then I'm going to bring this down. We want to go down, and I'll use my string height gauge. We're almost there. I'll drop it down just a touch more. Okay, and then I'll do the treble side a little bit. Okay, recheck, and then I'll use the string action ruler. Yeah, that's nice. You can hear it. I'm just touching, so probably raise that up just a hair. Not much. Here we go. And I like where that is. So I'll check it with the string action ruler. So that's good. So we're 4/64, so about 1.5, 1.6 millimeters at the 12th fret. Okay, well, we're going to look at the intonation now. So you check that at the 12th fret in general. So we're going to get the tuner on. So again, this is D standard. So you got to remember that. I'll put that here. So again, we have D, G, C, F, A, D. So we want D here. Now I've stretched these strings a few times, but it's still going to take a little while, I think. Of course, I've lowered the string action, so that's why the tuning's off. Okay, so we're going to check the open string. Let's do the G, harmonic. That's actually pretty good. The C, touch flat, so just the tunings. Take your time, you don't have to rush through this. And we're a little sharp, right? So the F, that's pretty good. A little sharp, the A, yeah, not bad. If you remember, I just quickly estimated where these saddles should go, so didn't do a bad job. Okay, so I'm going to move the saddles forward and back, and we'll get this intonated. Again, this is rough intonation. You can get as close as you can. The guitar might not be intonated over the entire fretboard, the scale length, but you know, playing, bending strings, etc. You know, that's what gives you your tone. All right, I'll fix up the intonation. Okay, intonation's done in D standard tuning, and I'm gonna pick up my pickup height gauge. So I like to use these for the bass side is 1/8 of an inch. You know, somewhere around 3.2 millimeters, and then 3/32. Again, we're looking at about 2.4 millimeters on the treble side. So push down on the last fret. And I'm going to put a gauge, and it's brass, of course, so it's non-magnetic. You can see I can't get it under at all. Again, you don't want the pickups too close. You don't want them too far. but you definitely don't want them that close. So I'm going to back these, I'm going to bring these down. And I always put my finger on the pickup, make sure I'm going the right way. I'll check, I'll do a few turns. Oh, it's getting better. Now of course these pole pieces, there's a flat pole piece and then there's the screw types. The screw I can't get it under, the flat one's perfect. So, you know, sort of a compromise. I'm going to raise up that side a little bit. Okay, we're all done with that. Okay, let's trim these strings. Ow! That actually hurt. Get them as close as you can to the tuning post. Just don't want to accidentally catch yourself on that. Make sure you get any little bits. And of course we're going to put on the truss rod cover, the Dave Mustaine truss rod cover. Very nice. Get that on there. Some very small screws. Now a lot of times you can't get in there, so I just have like a little, this is a skewer, like a shish kebab skewer. Just keep this around, use that. It's not going to damage anything, it's wood, right? Soft wood, so you're not going to scratch anything. If you use a metal, like a screwdriver or something, then you risk the chance of scratching stuff. We don't want to do that. Especially on a brand new guitar. Older guitar that's already got some nicks and dings, not too much of a problem. But a brand spanking new, no, we want to keep it like that. Loosen those up, see where that hole is, there it is. Of course that hole is right under the string. Go figure, right? So you have to loosen up that D string. Pull it out of the nut slot. There we go. Can't believe it. There we go. Now I've pulled this aside, I might as well tighten it up. Ibanez has got a really cool truss rod on a lot of their basses and that, where they just slide out. It's a lot better. I don't know why, maybe it's patented, I guess that's why more guitar companies don't do that. Okay, well we're all done here. Set up really nicely, really easily, which is good. Didn't fight me. Fortunately, we couldn't put those locking tuners on that the owner had purchased, but he'll probably return those or keep those for another project. He has quite a few guitars. But I think this bridge, this Gotoh bridge, is going to be an improvement. It's beefier and adjusted beautifully. The screws, like, it just moved really nice and they feel really firm. There's no slop in there. So I like it. I like it a lot. So let me plug this in. Turn my crappy amp on. Put some distortion. Is that what people like with these guitars? That's open D. Nice. Alright. So this isn't usually my cup of tea, but it's pretty cool. I mean, you can't deny that, right? So for those who enjoy the Flying Vee and sort of non-traditional guitar shape, this one is probably for you. Cool headstock, great paint job, this custom black metallic. Look at that triple binding. Triple, 1, 2, 4. 4 layers of binding. Pretty neat tailpiece too. Nice guitar. Tell me what you think. Do you own one of these? Do you like these guitars? Do you want one? Leave me a comment, please, in the description box below the video. Alright, take care. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.